This is a story about hydrogen, health, pH balance, antioxidants, and water, and how they all interact to prevent and cure diseases. My husband and I learned about these things 25 years ago when we bought our first water ionizer. I was a teacher and principal at the time. We were raising 5 children, and that had its challenges, especially since we all seemed to have allergies. Prior to our first water ionizer, I spent many an evening in the health food store looking for remedies. My sister told me about ionized water and showed me all the latest research coming out of Japan at the time and how they were preventing and curing diseases with this water. And sure enough, as soon as I started drinking ionized water and I had all my children drink ionized water, I learned that it was easier to stay healthy and just be healthy, prevent disease, than it was to find remedies or cure disease after the fact. I spent a lot of money on that first ionizer, but I earned it back in less than the first year just by savings of 0 trips to the doctor. And literally all the years since then, we have just continued to be perfectly healthy. Beyond owning a water ionizer, another thing that changed me at the time was knowledge about the body and its need for alkalinity and antioxidants. The machine does no good sitting on the counter unused. It was this knowledge that prompted me to use the machine as much as I did with myself and with my children. I actually read a couple of books related to the subject of Japanese research and their new machines. Then, and still today, this data tends to get disregarded by our profit-based researchers in the United States. When the Japanese were at their all-time low after World War II, they picked up on this research, along with anything that showed promise to prevent disease and cure disease, and all of that was looked at and studied. The reason why is they were a dying race at the time, physically and economically. They literally had no time to think about profits. Acidification and lack of oxygen is a cause for cancer and illness and ultimately cell death. In the United States, we obviously have not learned this knowledge because our idea of a healthy meal is to have all of the food groups in one meal, regardless of how acidic it is. So anyway, the Japanese studied water better than it had ever been studied before, and they developed equipment to simulate the water they found. They learned of claims of healing waters, and that attracted their attention. In some parts of the world, people live to be well over 100 years old, disease-free. That attracted their attention. So the Japanese became very involved in studying water and developing equipment that would simulate it. In other words, simulate the healthiest water that they found. Studying water makes sense. After all, our bodies are mostly made of water. We start out as a baby about 80% water. As we grow older, we lose water. And part of what the Japanese were studying is how we can retain the water in our bodies and drink the right water that our bodies can use. The Japanese did quite a few experiments with the water that they developed. They called this water alkaline reducing water, and in this picture it's called ARW for short. Now this particular study shows that the spread of rats' cancer cells was reduced with drinking the ionized water versus drinking tap water. This one shows that ionized water inhibits the growth of tumors as well. Here's an experiment with about 20,000 chickens, which shows that their immune systems and overall health is far better when drinking ionized water versus groundwater. You can see that their survival rate is 99.3%, almost perfect. They also did a lot of clinical trials, and it's hard to do a clinical trial showing that somebody is staying healthy. I mean, how can you prove that? But they work with people who had various diseases, and their trials showed that the water, both drinking the alkaline ionized water internally and applying the acidic byproduct water to the skin, both of those things were very helpful in healing. So what I learned from this was the fact that our bodies need to consume slightly alkaline ionized water, and doing this helps oxygen get into the cells, and it helps the cells and tissues by releasing their toxins and allowing the toxins to be safely eliminated from the body, also allowing the cells to remain healthy and disease-free, and also that it helps the body to keep its healthy body weight. Because these toxins are stored in the fat cells, removing them from the body helps you to recover the body's natural healthy weight. Another very major benefit of ionized water that has been very heavily researched in recent years is the power of hydrogen. Hydrogen has an amazing power to help heal the body and keep it healthy. Hydrogen is like a free radical monster eater. Now, every water ionizer has a water cell, and in the water cell, it splits the water, and alkaline water comes out one stream, and acidic water comes out the other. Now, at the pole where alkaline water is produced, hydrogen is produced in abundance. So basically, ionized water is hydrogen-rich water. And here's how it works in the body. Active oxygen travels through our bodies just as part of its natural processes. But the problem is active oxygen is or becomes a free radical and can actually damage cells, damage various membranes, and even get into the DNA and damage it. But when your body has access to plentiful hydrogen, it can come in and bond with the active oxygen to neutralize it. Now, neutralizing active oxygen can help save the cells that would have been damaged, or it can even actually help repair the cells and repair the DNA even. So hydrogen is part of the secret ingredient that helps oxygen safely get into our cells and safely remove toxins so that our cells can be free of disease and healthy. Now, here is a list of many disorders that have been studied, especially in the last 10 years, and there are over 150 conditions or diseases that this water has been found to help. Now, this is not a claim of cure. It's basically a common sense thing to do to keep your body from getting disease in the first place, or just to use a healthy way of reversing diseases after they occur. Now, if you go to my website, you'll see that I sell quite a lot of different types of water ionizers. I also sell hydrogen water machines. Now, these are different than water ionizers in that they don't raise the pH of the water, but they do pump quite a lot of hydrogen into the water. Sometimes people don't really eat acidic diets and they don't need the alkalinity of the water, but they do need the benefits of hydrogen to the health of their cells. I even sell something called hydrogen gas generators, And this is breathable. You can inhale it. Also, you can put the hose into any kind of a jug of water or big bottle of water or whatever and pump hydrogen into that. You can also pump hydrogen into any kind of liquid, soups, juices, etc. Now, you couldn't do that with the other machines. I do a lot of comparing of different types of water machines, water ionizers, etc., and I share that with you on my website. So I invite you now to go to my website. I started developing this website after I retired from being a teacher slash principal, and I've put quite a lot of work into it. My intention is to make it a full learning experience for people. I also have a secondary intention to bring the prices of this equipment down into a reasonable price range so that people can afford it. And they can share this with their families so that they all can live happier, healthier, and longer lives.